What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope everybody's had a good week and a good weekend. Today's video, we are actually talking about these guys right here. Yeah. And are you wanting to get into chickens this year? Specifically laying hens on the egg production side of it. Here at Pigweed Farms, we have 17 hens in coops right now, but we only have 4 that lay because the rest of them are not old enough to lay yet. They're still a couple months out. And I've seen a bunch of people wanting to get into it this year. There's so many people that Tractor Supply has ran out of chicks every time on their delivery. So today we're going to talk about like the different stages of life of when you would want to get into chickens. Um, it's really just depending on how much time you have is depending on what stage of life that you want. So come along today. We're going to start at the incubator and work our way outside. So y'all stay tuned. If you haven't already, go like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll pick y'all back up here in just a minute. Alright guys, as of right now we're in my bathroom. This is where we keep our incubator at. It's the safest place for it due to our kids. Most people put them on a kitchen counter. Most people put them in like on a desk in a closet. At a hidey hole they can stick them in. They can do it there. Um, the If you want to start by hatching eggs, it is, in my opinion, this is all my opinion. In my opinion, this is hatching them from eggs is not that bad. It's real easy. You buy a good incubator to start out with. Don't sit here, don't spend, you know, a coodle's amount of money on an incubator that you may use or you may not. But also, I wouldn't recommend spending the lowest of the low and getting one that's going to fluctuate with the temperature and humidity a lot. In our bathroom, we we sometimes have humidity spikes, but I've noticed with this one, I'm about to show y'all this one. It holds its humidity good and it holds its temperature good for where we're at in the house. We're on an outside wall. My house is literally almost 100 years old, so it gets drafty in here at night, especially during the cold. So, it probably ain't the best place for it, but it's the best place that we feel fit for this to be. Just a quick thing about my incubator is a chick cozy. It holds 25 eggs. It has auto turn. It controls the humidity and everything by itself. It does have a vent port on the side that you can adjust if you want more or less humidity. But another thing, quick thing about hatching eggs is it's not that hard to get your hands on some. You can go spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on hatching eggs, but if you reach out to one of your local farmers that has chickens, that has roosters, they're going to have fertile eggs. So you can reach out to them, get you some eggs, buy you an incubator. I think this one was like $160. It was not that big of a deal. It did not break the bank, and I absolutely love this incubator. But you can hatch your own eggs, and like I said, you can go buy them from a local farmer. Some farmers might just give them to you. Depending on how big in the business they are, is depending on if they're going to give them to you or not. We have some here we got from a lady at church. She just gave them to us. I offered to pay Miss Sarah, but she said it's okay. But with doing it this way, you can hatch them all the way through the stage of life. The biggest thing with us here, we want to keep our kids engaged in it. So Tate and Brooks both, they run in here every morning, check the incubator, then they go outside in the mud room where we'll be at next, and they will check on the chicks that's outside. So this is our incubator. Like I said, it is a chick cozy. It's got all the stuff up here. Don't mind my blue countertops. Like I said, it's not full. There's only 14 eggs in here. Some from our farm and some from hers. Um, we hatched. We put 10 in there the last time, and we hatched 9 out of 10. So it's a 90% success rate on hatching. And like I said, it's not going to break the bank. You might put 25 eggs in here and only get 20 of them to hatch, and that's just how it is because you're not guaranteed a hatch or a fertile egg. So this is, like I said, this is the chick cozy. You can I'll put a link for it down below. We're not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or fashion. It's just a really good all-around incubator. And another thing with running an incubator, like I said, it's really easy to do. Most people blow it out of proportion. Most people want to scare people away from either hatching eggs or doing chicks in a brooder or run them away from chickens altogether. And this incubator, once you put the eggs in there, you fill it up with water, get your humidity right. Day 7, you candle. Day 14, you candle. And day 21, you should have them start hatching. That's 3 days. The only 3 days you mess with this incubator. And to candle all these, we normally do it. Might take 30 minutes one night to do it. So the whole time you're hatching these eggs, you might have an hour invested over a 3-week period. So if you have the time and the patience to do it, I recommend starting at this stage. It's real awesome. Like I said, it's real educational for your kids. It is real educational for you too, because you can crossbreed your own chickens. You can do purebreds and sell them. You can sell the biddies. But this is stage 1 out of the 3 stages we're going to do in this video. So next we're going to move out to the mudroom, and we'll show you our brooder setup, and we'll show you our chicks that we have out there. Alright guys, we're out here in our mudroom. This is stage 2. Don't mind the background noise. The kids are inside. They're not having too much fun. But, you know, we talked about the hatching of the eggs, how you can do that, and how it's real cheap to get into, and, you know, just the all-around educational purpose of it. Now we're on the brooders. I'll show you our brooder real quick. This is how economical this is. So we already had these tanks from just having cows and goats and everything like that. We have this smaller tank. This has got some of our newer chicks in here. This tank is not in use right now, but it is a 100-gallon Rubbermaid tank. Real cheap. I think you can pick these up for like 120 bucks. And I think this metal tank is like 100 bucks. So, and all jokes aside, we have just say a couple $100 wrapped up in brooders right now, which ain't that bad. I mean, you look at some brooders that some companies sell, and they're $600, $700, $800, and they don't get the amount of room that they have in these. Now, if we're going to be like big into it, we might would invest in a bigger brooder, that way we can run more at one time. But right now, for the amount that we do, these are suitable for what we do. So, like I said, we have, I think this is a 50-gallon tank, 100-gallon tank. This one's got the taller sides on it. That way, you know, they can't just jump out. And these are our chicks. Now, when we break down about this, sorry, and it's all about what kind of breed you want also with the egg laying production. Your white leghorns, your barred rocks, your Rhode Island Reds are going to be your more popular breeds of chicken to be able, you know, it's going to put out a bunch of eggs. We also have Brahmas, light Brahmas, dark Brahmas, and a couple more that's not really on the top of the scale for egg production, but they're a pretty chicken. You know, if you're going to do this for a living, you might want to have some prettier looking chickens. So you can buy chicks. Like I said, some of these we hatched, or most of these we hatched, and there's like 3 chicks in here that we did not hatch, that we bought from Tractor Supply. And this time of year, Rural King, Tractor Supply, other farm stores have chicks. Now, one thing in the brooder that we recommend, that I would recommend to anybody asking me that's going to get into it, when we put chicks in here, especially from Tractor Supply, they have been through the ringer. They have been through shipping, transit, bouncing around, the whole 9 yards. They're going to be stressed out, and when they stress out, their immune system isn't going to be the best. And you really have to watch, you know, their health. What we do is give them a probiotic once they reach our farm. Once we put them in here, they stay in this brooder for, depending on the breed, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, and then we move them outside, or until they're fully feathered. Alright guys, this is the probiotic that we give our chickens. Flock Guard. It just helps them get a kickoff with their immune system, their digestive system. Um, and you know, it has a lot of good in here. So we use little quart waters. Don't look at them now because they are dirty. Today is clean out day. But we give them the probiotic to be able to really start their growth off good. You know, we want them to grow. We don't want them to die. If you give them, I'm not saying you can't just give them straight water, but if you do give them straight water, just understand there is risk with pasty butt. You know, that's part of their digestive system where the poop really gets on their butt and just sticks. The probiotic helps with that. It helps with their digestive system to make sure everything's flowing correctly. Another thing people say with, even with the incubator and um, even with in the brooder, you know, yeah, these brooders take up space. They really do. But it's not that much space, to be honest with you. Like, we lose a couple square foot of our mudroom that we weren't going to use anyway. And the biddies, they're not that hard to take care of. They really aren't. People want to scare people away and say they're one of the hardest animals to keep alive and one of the hardest animals to take care of, and they're not. Um, Being in our mudroom, we walk by them every morning and every afternoon and multiple times through the day. So we do check on them when we're walking in and out. But as long as they got water and food and a little bit of heat, we there's nothing else to do with them. They're the easiest critter to take care of, in my opinion. I mean, all jokes aside, my dogs require more attention and more work than these chickens do. Another thing to think about too when you're getting into your brooder is what kind of heat source are you going to use. So we use two different style heat sources. We do use a heat lamp. I'm about to show you that, and we use a heating pad. And I actually just bought two heating pads because we just swapped over. This is the heating pad that we use. Let me see if I can get y'all. So this is it. You get them at Tractor Supply. No affiliation. But they're really nice heat lamps. Producer's pride. We are trying to make the swing away from heat lamps. We had a debacle with the last chicks that we raised. It was during winter. It got really cold outside. We had snow. We had to keep them inside a lot longer than what we wanted to. So we had a heat lamp on them. They flew up. They would fly, and they would hit the lamp and knock it down into the brooder. That's just a risk you're going to have to take when you're using a heat lamp. We have a guard on ours. Show y'all this. So we have a guard on ours. That way, if it does fall in here, it just hits the bottom and it keeps that bulb from catching any of the shavings on fire. This is the heat pad. So it has 4 legs that go in all 4 corners. It stays elevated. I have it cut off right now because I'm using my light. But with using that, it makes it a lot easier. You know, you're not heating up a whole brooder. Let me fix y'all. That's one thing you have to worry about with, especially baby chicks. You know, they need to stay at that 100 degrees for the first few days, and then you can keep knocking it down. And with a heat lamp like this one, the way it is set up, it heats the whole thing up. You know, the whole brooder gets heat up, which ain't a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad deal. You know, they want to stay warm. You want to keep them warm. There is such thing as them getting too hot, and they can die from that. So with the heat plate, we are able to keep a controlled place where it's nice and warm all the time instead of the whole thing. The way if they get too hot under there, they can move out, get cooler, and work themselves back and forth. All right, guys. So this is, like I said, this is our brooders. And let me go ahead and show you. Don't mind the way these look. They make a mess in these. That's another thing you have to watch out. They make a mess with their waters. So go ahead and expect to change it out at least twice. This is one style that we use. I'm going to clean it out as soon as I get done with this video. Takes a quart mason jar with a lid. We have a bunch of these lids. I just bought them. These are the feeders that we use, or the waters. This is a bottom for the mason jar. You can pick these up for like $3. no big deal. We don't use the big waters until they're either in the big brooder or they're outside where they're going through a lot more water. We like to use these because, for one, they can't drown in these. If you use a big water, you got to worry about putting rocks in it or something in there that's not going to allow them to drown. That's the reason we favor these while they're in the small brooder. Feeders, on the other hand, we kind of keep it simple. You know, you don't want to sit here and have to be doing anything or filling up a feeder that they're going to waste a bunch of food. Here at Pigweed Farms, we do not like food waste. We try to keep our feed costs down to a minimum, just because that's how you're going to make your most profit. If you're sitting here wasting double the amount of feed, you're going to have to buy double the amount of feed, which is going to cut your profit by double. These are the feeders that we use. Long plastic feeders. A bunch of chicks can get in here at one time. They're not fighting over a bunch of feed. Some of our bigger feeders are like this big, and they crowd around them. This way they can get on both sides. You do have to worry about them perching up here, roosting up here. You might get a little poo in there every now and then, but it's not going to hurt nothing. They have these. I think this was like $7. So it ain't going to... People want to scare you and say you have to buy all this expensive equipment, and you don't have to. This is actually, when we started raising chicks back in 2019, 2020, this is what we started with. It is a metal feeder. Real easy. The only reason I don't like these because the way you have to slide everything off, if they bend them up, it makes it a pain to get off. These feeders are literally, you just pop the little nipple and they open up. You can clean it out, wipe it out. Here on the farm, whenever we get a new batch of chicks in, if we're raising from hatchlings or if we're buying them from the store, everything gets clean. We either wipe it down with a Clorox wipe or we bleach it, just so we don't spread any diseases that don't need to be spread from either food or water sitting in a container, or, you know, if there's some feces left over that we didn't see, you could risk spreading a disease to a new batch of chicks. That's what you do not want. But all this is just easy stuff. You know, people say it's real hard to raise these animals. It's not. We've raised all of our chickens on our farm. We have raised from biddies. The ones that we started out with, the ones we bought Tate some when he was a year old, bought Brooks some when he was a year old. We just hatched our first round out, and it's not that hard. If you have the time and the patience to deal with them, like I said, they are going to be messy. Especially when you put ducks in here. Ducks are the biggest mess inside of a brooder. We love our ducks. We wouldn't take nothing for them. But these are some of our... Let me see if I can grab one. So this is one that we hatched out. This will be a California gray. You can see little black spots on top of his head. These are out of a white leghorn and barred rock cross. I'll throw a picture up right here about what they'll look like. We have some mixed breeds in here that we bought from Trash Supply and a couple Peking ducks. But we'll do ducks later. We're not going to do ducks today. Alright guys, so like I said, if you don't have the time or you don't think you'll have the time, I mean, look at this. I gotta get the hardware cloth from the barn, because you deal with little ones like that right there where they get up on the edge because they want to get up and look around. But if you still don't think you're going to have the time to take with these, they do need a little bit of time, but it's not as much as everybody thinks. But if you want to skip the hatching stage, if you want to skip the brooding stage where you're raising them from a chick, I'm going to take you outside and show you stage number 3. Stage number 3 is probably going to be the best for some people, not all people, but I'll pick you back up outside. Alright guys, so we're outside, we're walking over to our coop, and this is the first round of chickens that we raised last year. We went a year or so without them just because we had a bad predator problem. We didn't want to risk it, but we got back into it, and those are the ones that we've raised with Tate. There's 4 hens and there's 2 roosters with those. That's how we get our fertile eggs. Remember I just told you we had the California Grays and the brooder that we hatched? They came out of him in 3 of those. There's 1, 2, and then there's another one over there. Stage number 4, or stage number 3, I'm sorry. Stage number 3 is going to be buying chickens that are at the age where they can be outside and they might be a month or 2 away from laying eggs. It's real common around here. People pick that choice most times. It's just a real common deal. People around here sell chickens. They sell laying hens that are already laying or that they are about to be laying. So in this pen, this is our cooplex. We just built it. There's a video coming out soon on it. But all these chickens we raised in a brooder. We bought these from Tractor Supply. There's 13 in here. We had 14, but we did have a predator issue in the middle of building the coop. But you can buy them like this. Just like that, about that size, that age. Some people will sell them to you a little bit older. Some people may sell them to you a little bit younger. It just depends. You know, what age do you want to get into it at? And another thing to watch out for too, when buying ready to lay chickens, is the fact that they get real stressed out in transit. They get real stressed out in beatboxing around in a car. If you do buy some from somebody, I don't recommend buying them and then going to get your feed and all your supplies that you need. Get all your supplies that you need and then go get them. That way you can go straight from the farm's house, or straight from the farm straight to your house, and put them in their coop. Because with all that stress, you're going to delay some lay time. So I had a buddy of mine give me some chickens one time out of his. He wanted to get out of it, so I took a couple of them. And it took maybe close to a month before they started laying eggs. And that ain't no big deal, because we still had chickens laying eggs. It ain't that bad of a deal. Another thing to watch out for is if you already have chickens, and you throw 2 or 3 new chickens in there, there's going to be a pecking order. The pecking order is going to be rough for a couple days. What we recommend doing, if you do buy you a couple more chicks, get you one of those, or a couple more chickens, get you one of them open dog crates, one of them small open dog crates. That's all you got to get. And slide it into the coop, put the chickens in there. I've heard that works. We have not tried that. I think I said we did, but we have not tried that yet. Because we just don't buy random chickens from farms. I mean, we don't want to risk giving all of our birds diseases. I mean, here on the farm, between outside and the brooder, I think we have close to 30-something birds here. We do have our 4 ducks. That one's giving me the side eye right now. But that's just going to be some risk. There is going to be a pecking order. They are going to fight until they show, hey, I'm the boss. You're not. You're new. And they're going to beat the crap out of them. So just go ahead and expect that. But even with these chickens out here, we let our chickens free range. That's one of the deals with getting back into chickens. What we wanted to do was let them free range, get the best tasting eggs out of it. There's a bunch of positives to it. Them not being locked up is the biggest one. Them being able to go outside and just thrive on the land. I know it's a mess. We're still working. But all this green grass, they'll eat down. We do give them a little bit of scratch feed every blue moon, but we try not to. We might give them a little bit of corn every now and then, but like I said, we try not to. If it's going to be real cold, we will, because corn helps their metabolism, which in turn builds heat. But while I'm on the subject of wintertime, I've seen a bunch of people on Facebook this year, first-time chicken owners, asking, do you have to put a heat lamp inside your coop? We do not. Putting a heat lamp inside your coop is an extreme fire risk that can it burns coops down all the time. Do not put a heat lamp inside your chicken coop. There's a bunch of dust in there. It's real flammable inside of a chicken coop. It's real dry. And if you're going to put some kind of heat source inside of it, make sure you put one of those heating plates like we use. You can put, they stand up on their side and you can put them inside of your coop. But other than that, we got 8 inches of snow, which is really rare for South Alabama, back in January. And our chickens were out playing in it. It didn't slow them down not once. So we don't, like I said, we don't recommend putting in, we don't put heat in our coops. For one, it just don't get cold enough around here on most years. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do stage 4. I didn't know if I was going to do it or not, but I am going to go ahead and do it. It's the main part of when getting chickens if you're getting them ready to lay. Stage 4 is a coop. You got to have somewhere for them to lay their eggs. You got to have somewhere for them to feel protected at night. Our first round of chickens that we had, they got in trees and everything. I didn't like it. You get a high risk of predators. This is our first coop, and I'm going to show you this coop. And I see a lot of people getting into chickens, and they run a Tractor Supply, and they buy one of their chicken coops from there that is supposed to be for 4 to 6 chickens or 6 to 8 chickens. It's not big enough for that many chickens. If you're leaving them locked up, especially the ones with a little 6-foot run that's 2 foot wide, they're not big enough. You're going to really stress your chickens out. And for the money, you can build one of these. You can build one of these big coops. I think the only thing I didn't have to buy for this chicken coop was the metal siding, because we had a well house that we don't use anymore. This is a 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot tall chicken coop. This chicken coop will hold up to 20 birds, on free range, of course. And it's all metal. It's under a shade tree in the summertime for everybody comments say to get too hot in there. This tree branches out and it covers it most of the day. But it's got a 17-foot run that's 5 foot wide. If I left my chickens caught up in here all the time, I might would do 8 to 10 chickens inside of this coop just to keep their stress level down. But this is as simple as it gets. It's got a pitched roof. It ain't none of that fancy roofing. The inside, I don't have all of my roosting bars in here just because we haven't had that many chickens. You can see in here, it just opens up, probably kind of dark. You got your roosting bars up here. I can add another one. I can add near about 2 more roosting bars inside this coop. The golden rule for your chicken coop is with roosting bars, you want 1 foot per chicken. So if you have a 5 foot nest bar, you really only can get 5 chickens on that nest bar. The more feet that you have, the more you can, or the more length in roosting bars that you have, the more chickens that you can put inside your coop. This coop, which is our cooplex, is 8 foot by 5 foot. The interior is 8 foot by 4 foot. It was cheaper to build this than it was to go to Tractor Supply or Rural King and buy one of their small coops. One of their small coops is going to be around $600 or $700. I think with this one, I've got maybe $600 wrapped up in it, and that's building the coop and the run. It's got an 8 foot by 10 foot run. Like I said, we free range here, so the run is basically if we get new birds or we have one that's not doing too good, we can put her in a coop by herself with a couple friends. But you don't have to go spend all this big money. That coop, I might have $250 wrapped up in it in just timber, So, like I said, you don't have to go build this big immaculate coop, $40,000 coop. You don't have to go refinance your house to build a chicken coop. You can DIY it. If you want to, you can see if I can get a good copy of this. There ain't no build plans on it. But if y'all want a coop like this, just look at it and see. Another thing I was going to show you too, because these coops sit side by side, they're butted up to each other. This one, when I was going to build a new coop, I wanted to be able to basically have one giant coop. And the way I integrated that in is this wall right here is completely open to the other side. You can see all the way through the other side of the coop. It also has a little door right there that's blocked off right now. This door, when I put it on, is going to be on a hinge that I can pull a rope and it goes up or it goes down. So when everybody gets acclimated, everybody can go outside in free range. I'll open that door and they can share both coops. So, if they want to do a little exploring, they can swap coops. Everybody lives together. Everybody's happy. You don't want to sit here and build a coop, like too small of a coop, and shove so many chickens in there they're stressed out. Like I said, this coop will hold 20 birds by itself on free range. This coop will hold close to 40 on free range. Chicken math is real, so just a heads up on that. If you think you're going to start off with 4 or 5 chickens, you're wrong, because by the time you're done, you're going to end up with 20 to 30. I mean, I know from experience. We're trying to do it as a business to sell eggs. We're going to try meat birds, so we'll do a video on them. Y'all stay tuned for that. There's a video coming out soon on the cooplex when it gets done. So we have a bunch coming chicken content wise this year. Ducks. We're going to raise ducks for eggs. So y'all stay tuned. If you have any questions, comment them down below. Y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe. Like I said, comment those questions. We might do another video like this where we show y'all around and do it that way. So we appreciate each and every one of you that watches these videos. We couldn't do it without y'all. If nobody watched, I'd probably still make them a little bit, but y'all just stay tuned. Like I said, we have a lot coming this year, and we can't wait to expand on out. So like, subscribe, comment down below, and remember that Jesus loves you, and we will see y'all on the next one.